very excited because this is a $26,000 laptop on my hands. I can't believe it. And it's from ASUS. Wow, look at that. Nice box. ProArt StudioBook. And let's open this up. Wow, this is huge. Look at the size. Right. This laptop is a beast. Look at the weight. I think we're going to get the elephant out of the room first. This thing weighs 2.5 kilograms. It is super humongous heavy. It's 2.5 kg. Can you imagine that? This is built like a tank. My God. Right. Solid feel. This is meant for your architects, designers, engineers, and developers. Maybe a YouTuber too. But this is crazy heavy, 2.5 kilograms. This is just the laptop. Just the laptop. Right? So let's look at the front. We have some LEDs here. Shows the lights, hard drive. Right, LEDs for hard drives. Right in the front. Sound by Harbin Kardon. It should sound great, right? It's 17-inch. So let's go through the ports on the left side. The usual suspect. This is a DC in, which is with the humongous power brick to power this beast. And then we have the HDMI 2.0 full size, and we have a USB 3.1 Gen 2. We have two of these here, and then we have an audio jack. Right next to the audio jack, we have an SD 4.0 card reader. It's a full size, so you can put in your entire SD card here. Great for photographers or videographers. And look at the other side. Nothing in front. Then we have two Thunderbolt 3 USB Type-C, and there's two of them here. So no complaints for those Thunderbolt lovers. Thunderbird lovers, can you imagine that? Thunderbolt lovers. And then you have one 3.1 Gen 2 USB full size, and then a LAN port, RJ45 LAN port for you gamers, and a Kensington lock. Nothing at the back. These are all just vents. You can see boatload of vents from the back to dispel the heat. And the bottom, full ventilation grills at the back portion of the laptop. Nothing in front. It's clean. So I did say I was very glad that I got this from ASUS. It's supposed to be the ProArt StudioBook Pro X W730G, which is actually retailing at 26,000 in the ASUS website. But to my surprise, I've got something else here. So the 26K StudioBook Pro X, which is the W730G, is supposed to be having a Xeon 2276M processor with 4 pieces of 16 GB RAM, which effectively is supposed to be 64 GB, and 1 terabyte of PCIe SSD with Quadro RTX 5000 and 16 GB. So what I have here is a different specs. The chassis is the same. It's a 730G chassis, but the specs is different. I was surprised. So let's open up the processor. What I have here is a i7 9750H processor, Okay, it's not a Xeon M processor, and 32 GB of RAM. 32 GB of RAM, right? And the device that I have here as well, the graphic card, it has a built-in Intel's 630 and NVIDIA Quadro T1000 instead of the RTX 5000. So I was a bit confused because the specs given to me was the W730G, which is supposed to have the Quadro RTX 5000 and 64 GB of RAM and 1 terabyte of SSD with the Intel Xeon 2276M. But this model is different. And on top of that, the drives that came together was the Intel SSD, which is 512 GB, and a 1 terabyte Seagate hard drive. This is a traditional hard drive. So nevertheless, we shall run a few benchmarks to see what performance this W730G has, and we have a go. Before I run the benchmark, let me recap. This screen is a 17-inch LED backlit display. It's WUXGA, which means it's 1920 times 1200. So it is 300 nits. They call this a nano edge because it's quite thin at the bezel here. It's an IPS level in-plane switching display, but it's matte. You can see very little reflection. It has a 1000 to 1 contrast ratio and a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. It's anti-glare with 3.8 mm thin bezel and a 92% screen body ratio, which is very good. Again, it's a 97% DCI gamut and with the 8-bit color. So this is a Pantone validated screen, which is meant for the designers and developers that fully utilize and need a great screen. It looks great. Currently it's at its max brightness because I have lights around. This is a 720p camera, which is quite standard, and the mics are above here. So if you're doing any Zoom or TeamView or Microsoft Teams video, you will need this camera, but it's only 720p, which is quite average. There's no fancy lighting, it's just a white backlit keyboard. And what we have here is a ScreenPad. So this is ASUS proprietary touchpad, which is called a ScreenPad. I'm not very used to this because I keep switching this between this and the keyboard. So you need to go back to the touchpad. You gotta press there, and there's an X disabled here, and then the ScreenPad is there. So not very comfortable with this. Maybe if you use it for long hours and you've got used to it, it will be very handy, maybe for designers. So I'll go back to the touchpad. The touchpad is glass surface, feels glass, very silky smooth. And the rest of the keyboard is very solid. There's no flex. It's totally no flex. It's very solid build. Again, metal chassis. So keyboard are very clicky, and buttons are large. But I do find the buttons are a bit flat. There's no a bit texture to that. I prefer a bit curved, and it's all the numpads as well. So it's a very large keyboard, full-fledged keyboard here. What we have here is a finger scanner for logging in for your Windows Hello, and the power button is right at the top here. So the Intel SSD is having a respectable read speed of above 3000 and if a write speed of below 1005, which is average on this. It'll be great to see if it's both is at 3000 megabits per second. So if you can change in a faster SSD which has a 3000 megabits per second write, and this laptop will fly. So we'll do the hard drive and see what's the difference. Okay, the hard drive is only 180 megabytes per second. For read and write it's almost the same. This is why you want to upgrade your hard drives to SSD. I would change the second drive to a 1 terabyte SSD or a 2 terabyte SSD. Then it will give exceptional speed to the laptop. So do take note that your hard drive is the one that's slowing your entire system down, which is why you see the SSD is about 3000 read, about 1005 write, and you can see the huge difference. So it's worthwhile to upgrade your hard drive to SSD. Alright, we'll run the benchmark and have a look at the Geekbench score. So it is 6 cores and 12 threads, Coffee Lake Core i7 9750H model, with the base frequency of 2.59 GHz and a maximum boost frequency of 4.49. So we run a Geekbench just to test the benchmark of the CPU. Here we have it, single core at 1087 and the multi-core is 5196. So it's a respectable score. So let's do the other benchmark. Okay, we'll run compute on the Quadro T1000 first and see what's the benchmark for Quadro. Okay, the Quadro T1000 is 30,000, around 30,000 for the CL score, Open CL score. So the Quadro T1000 is around 30,000 for the Open CL score. Let's try the Intel graphics. So this uses a Intel graphics 630 and we'll run a benchmark on that. And the Intel graphics is about 6270. So we move on to the next testing. Okay, we have 2643, which puts it right below the Intel Xeon 5650, which is a 12 core 24 thread processor. So we're at 2006, whereas the Xeon is 2007. So we test World of Tanks and at the same time test the sound separation, because World of Tanks has great sound separation, including explosion on Hitler side. The graphics on this screen is stunning, and the Quadro is amazing. So we're looking at 10,632 score, but the graphics and the audio is amazing. The sound is very full, doesn't sound tinny because of the chassis and the wide space between the separation for the two speakers. Let's try out SFOG and see how many frames per second we're getting on this. So let's take a look at what's powering this inside here. So this unit comes with a 63 watt hour battery. There is a 95 watt hour version which is longer battery, but this one is 63, but it has a additional slot here for the hard drive. So this is a 1 terabyte Seagate hard drive, and then this is where the SSD, the Intel SSD is. You have 2 more RAM slots here, which means this unit can go up to 64 GB. So you have 32 already on board, and then now you can add 2 more slots which are empty. So 64, you can max out this. And these are the 2 speakers on the left and right. They work with Harman Kardon to get the sound system. That's why it's quite pleasing. It's full. It's not tinny. Doesn't sound like a tin can. Sound separation is great because of the size of the laptop. And these are the 2 fans with the heat pipes to the GPU and the CPU. Again, and this is powered with the Wi-Fi 6 card, and the Wi-Fi is much better than the Wi-Fi 5 card. So you don't have to change it. So you already have Wi-Fi 6. It's a dual band antenna around the screen, and the heat pipes ventilation is through the back. You won't get heat on your hand when you're using it with the mouse. It's nothing much here, but I would wish that this could have been the 96 watt hour battery instead, rather than this rather tiny battery in this. So they are expecting the users to be the designers, which is the 3D designers, the graphic designers that are most of the time desk bound. This technically should be able to replace a desktop. At the same time, they can carry it around, but the battery is the only thing that's let down here. They could have just gone with a bigger battery, and there's also 2 SSD slots, and so you can actually use the larger battery and make use of both the SSD slot. So there you have it. This is just a quick look at the ASUS ProArt StudioBook Pro X. This is a W730 model, which has the i7 instead of the Xeon. There's another model which is W730G, which has the Xeon processor and the Quadro RTX 5000, which initially I thought I was getting that because ASUS wanted to send me that model, and I was expecting the $26,000 unit which has the RTX 5000. That would have been fun. I will have done more longer version of the video that stretches the RTX 5000 graphic card. But I've got this model which is not listed on the website. I would expect it to for around 8,000 to 9,000 price range, and you can check out their ASUS website. I'll leave a link, and you can see the other range of the ASUS ProArt StudioBook series and see which one will suit best for your budget. Okay, that's it. Have a nice day. Give me a thumbs up and do subscribe. Bye.